All right, so we're in the Vinho Verde region of Portugal with Pseudónimo, which is pseudonym, but in Portuguese, which is a pet-nat that is clearly very delicious because I have to say that I was initially doing my research and getting set up to do the video, and then we got distracted halfway through. Nick came in and he tried it, he poured himself a glass. We were talking to his mom about something. We just kept drinking it because it's that easy. And this is all that's left. I literally just opened it like 25 minutes ago. So it's clearly very good. Anyways, so yeah, so it's a pet-nat, but it's also interesting. It's like a little bit of a fun lesson in Vinho Verde talking about it because it's from that region. It's made with the typical grapes that you would see that go into Vinho Verde, Trajadura, and Loureiro, something like that. And it is not disgorged. So initially I was a little bit afraid when I opened it that it might explode, but I don't think, well, again, take caution when you do it because you never know exactly. But I think it might not have as much of sparkling pet nattiness as your typical ones, because again, we're talking about Vinho Verde here. So I think it's more made in that style where it's like slightly sparkling, spumante versus, or sorry, frizzante versus spumante. That's what they say in Italy. You can have frizzante, which is just like a little bubbly, versus spumante, which is like fully sparkling. I think that's right. I might have accidentally turned that around. Anyways, so yeah, so this is pet-nat, or sorry, this is Vinho Verde made in the way that it has always traditionally been made. They just put a cap top on it and called it pet-nat. But Vinho Verde is always a little bit sparkling. And the way that they make it, at least in the olden days before they would, you know, filter the crap out of it and add things to it, is they would do this. They would not filter it. So like it's quite cloudy, and it's got lovely like leaves that we'll talk about in a little bit. And then they just cap it with a little bit of the CO2 still left in it and let the bubbles commence. All right, so that's a lot of buildup. The producers, Fernando Mora and Pedro Campos, they have just a couple of wines, I think, and they actually don't make that much. So I'm actually very shocked. This is just proof of how great price per, or whatever, price quality you get in Portugal, because this one's a very inexpensive wine, but they only make 500 cases of it. Everything's done by hand. Like, this should not be as cheap as it is. It just is because I guess the cost of labor and or the cost of living in Portugal is lower. So thanks to the Portuguese for letting us have something so delightful. That also, you know, you can buy a bunch of and have it at a party, but not too much because again, they only made 500 cases. That's a really small amount. All right, so that was a really long intro, but I love this wine. And I've also now, as you've seen, had a little bit of it. So with that in mind, the color is, well, cloudy is not a color, but it's like quite light, like light bright straw, but then it's just got like very, it's not opaque or anything obviously, but like you can't read through it. So as far as if I was putting this in my WSET class, it would certainly be quite cloudy. And on the nose, it smells so good. At the top, it's like a lot of tropical fruit. I was trying to not start with fruit, but man, this is just a little fruity nugget. So I think I just got to keep going with the fruit. So there's a lot of tropical fruit, also a bit floral. I think floral is a better one to pick up at the top, like daisies or pansies or something. And then on the bottom, like ripe lemon, but then more of like a zesty lime. Yellow apple, green apple. It's not that sparkling, so it's pretty easy for me. And I put it in this glass so I can actually get more out of it. If you have it in a flute or something, it's a little bit trickier to do this. It's also a little bit green. It's like not grassy, but something else that's green. Maybe a little bit like peppery, like an actual pepper, not pepper like the spice. It smells great. All right, let's try it. So it just has this lovely, it's not full body, but it is certainly like a full mouth feel. And I think that's because they don't filter it, so it has the lees still in there. So it would be creamy if it wasn't also very acidic. So it's got this like interesting balance going where it's like smooth and silky, but also very sharp, which is a little bit of an oxymoron or not, or contradiction. Let's go back to it. Yeah, the bubbles are there, but it's very faint. And so then the fruit is there, and it kind of goes like, oh man, it's funny. I feel it like a lot at the top of the palate. So I just said it's not that bubbly, but at the end of the day, like a lot of times when you have like a sparkling wine, I almost feel like at the back top of my neck, and I'm kind of feeling that here too. And so it's like stopped there, and it's got a lot of lemon limey, not like Sprite, because again, it's like more round and creamy than that. But, or is there like a dreamsicle Sprite or something kind of like that? And then yeah, it's like eating like a crisp apple slice. What's that really expensive apple called? Not Macintosh. Honeycrisp. It's like taking a bite of a Honeycrisp apple too, which is so fresh and like smooth and just really tasty. And yeah, and it's just super inexpensive. So as you can see from me, though I don't recommend it because I've had maybe a little more than I normally do during my tasting, so I'm feeling extra happy about it. You can drink it with absolutely nothing, and it is amazing. But you know, this is one that's great for tapas, snacks. Like, what are those like small? I want to say petit fours, but that's the thing at the end of the meal. Amuse bouche type thing, just like little finger foods. That's what I want to put this with. You can put it with other things as well, but it's also, you know, knowing that it's Vinho Verde region now, it also just makes me want to chill it and drink it next to the pool. Deviled eggs, that's really random, but something about the colors just reminded me of deviled eggs could be really tasty with it. But like I would also put that in the category of finger foods. Finger foods, that's it. Things that you're just, you know, eating while you're waiting for the meal to commence. So, and it's inexpensive enough again that you can just have a bunch of bottles laying around, and it looks a lot more expensive, especially in the natural wine category, I would say, than it actually is. So home run. That's all I gotta say about this wine. It's a home run, and I hope you love it.